Hello and welcome to tonight's live stream about technology. Nobody is here yet. It's just me talking until some other people pop in. Tonight, as you join, I want you to think about what is the last meaningful experience that you had. So I'm going to see if I can find the live, and then I'm going to share a link on my Facebook page. So here we go. Hopefully some people will be popping in while we do that. Pretty sure that, yep, there it is. It's live. Okay. Share. Copy link. All right. So who has joined us? I'm Lorella. I'm glad you're here tonight. And we will get going in just a second as soon as I share the link to this on my Facebook page. Here we go. Here we go. Hello. Oh, you know what? I don't have my live chat on yet. Okay, link has been shared. Now I'm going to come back over here. Let's turn on the live chat. That might help me to see who's in the house tonight. Hi, hello, Kenneth. How are you doing tonight? Welcome. Who else is here? Tonight we're going to be talking about screen time. And I have lots of notes, lots of things I want to talk about. And first, what I want to know is, what is your last meaningful experience? Who's here? Where are you watching from? What's your weather like? I'm in southern Missouri, and we have had kind of a cloudy, rainy day, but not terrible. It's cool, but not cold. So it's been fairly nice. So who else is watching? We have Kenneth. Who else is watching with us tonight? I know that I spend too much time on my phone. And I have 2 teenage daughters, and I think I'm worse than them. When we're sitting watching TV, I have my phone at hand usually. And I'll play on it while I'm doing something else. While I'm watching videos, I'll have my phone and I'll be scrolling through Facebook. So if you've been around my channel, you may remember a video I did that was titled How to Increase Your Joy and Reduce Your Stress, or something like that. So if you remember that, let me know. And I'm going to try and pull up the live chat on my phone because it stays on the screen longer than on the iPad. Oh, Kenneth is in the area. All right, so who else is watching? Where are you watching from? And let me make sure it's on live chat, not top chat. There we go. And how's your weather? How's everybody doing tonight? So I am guilty of being the person who is sitting around with a group of people, and if there's a lonely conversation, I'm going to look at my phone. Number one, it gives me something to do when I feel that awkward silence and I don't know what to talk about. If I get bored, I grab my phone. I know I'm on it more than I should be, and I know I spend a lot of time looking at screens. Hello, Sue from the UK. Glad you're here. So and it's something that we hear about a lot. We hear about screen time. Sorry, I just can't quite figure this out. My hair is a mess. Oh, one bad thing about today, it's super humid out. It's like gross humid. I flattened my hair twice today and like it just kind of went poof back out. Welcome to Missouri summers. It is what it is. I'll probably end up just throwing it up in a ponytail for most of the summer because of that. So we're talking about screen time. How much is too much? How many of you have an iPhone? I don't know how Androids work. Have a smartphone. I suppose they probably have the same feature and have actually looked at your screen time. So if you've looked at your screen time, let me know. And then also if you're an Android user and it has that feature, let me know. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit. And I'm going to be talking about things that I learned from 4 different videos over the week. They're pretty interesting. And I have links to all 4 of them in the description below. So let's talk about first. If you would, I want you to think of the last meaningful interaction you had, or the last meaningful event that happened in your life, or something like that. So I will just say on Easter Sunday, my mom came over for Easter dinner, and then when later in the evening we all sat around, we had a card game. So for me, that would be a meaningful interaction that I had recently. Prior to that, I can think of when a friend and I went out and we just sat over coffee and we talked for a while. So that would be a meaningful interaction to me. So who is on that wouldn't mind sharing what was your last meaningful interaction? And we will tie this all together in a little bit. I know sometimes I get a slow start. Hopefully some more people will join us as we go along. I see we've got 5 people here. Hi Jay, glad you're in the house. All right, so Sue has an Android. Sue, on your Android, can you read and see your screen time? Does it have an app for that? Hello, Miss B. Glad you're joining us tonight. We're talking about screen time. And my question that I'm starting off the evening is, what was the last meaningful event or meaningful interaction that you had? And if you don't mind sharing it with us. And I shared that my most recent meaningful interaction that I remember is Easter Sunday. My mom came over, she had dinner with us, and then we played a game after that. All right, so Sue says no on her Android. She cannot look up screen time. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something on my phone. So for those of you who are iPhone users, if you go to settings, and then you would, let me get there. Let me get out of it so you can see it. If your settings, when it comes up, it'll look like this with your name and information. And then if you pull it down, there's a search bar right there. Hello, Two Family Homestead. So glad you're in the house. And then you just start typing screen and it comes up. Whoa, let's see if we can get it to focus. Right there, screen time, you click on it and you can see, let's see if I can get the glare off the screen. There we go. I don't know if you guys can read that or if it is backwards to you. So it says, so far today, I've been on my phone 5 hours, 58 minutes. And then if you click over where it says the name, you can actually change it to the past week. Look at that, you can see a graph. And it says, my average is 8 hours per day on this device. And then if you scroll down or up, whatever way you consider that, it shows you exactly how much time you've spent in a week on each app, like from the greatest amount of time to the least. 11 hours on YouTube, 8 hours on Facebook. So 11 hours on YouTube, that's what? The 11 hours on YouTube divided by 7, that's like an hour and a half, right? Facebook, 8 hours, that's more than an hour a day. Marco Polo, there you are, Mama Grows, that's you. Marco Polo, 6 hours in a week, so about an hour a day on Marco Polo, chatting with friends, and it goes on from there. So if you haven't ever looked at it, that's pretty crazy. So 56 hours a week, my weekly total, 56 hours and 1 minute in the last 7 days that I have spent on the phone. So that's a lot. That's more than a full-time job, y'all. That's crazy. It's no wonder I'm tired all the time with all the time on my phone. Let me hop back over to the to YouTube so I can see the chat. So the question that I've asked everybody, that if you don't mind sharing, what was the last meaningful interaction that you had, or last meaningful event that you had that you don't mind sharing with us? And I shared that mine would be Easter, when I went to when my mom came over. Sorry, trying to do 2 things at once. Okay, so I'll set the phone, not in front of the camera. Let's try this side. The phone, I do a live from my iPad and the chat disappears, but it'll stay up on my phone there. Okay, so Rebecca from Flying Via's Farm says, the last meaningful interaction was with the littles in my family on Sunday during our Easter dinner. Very good. Nice. Anybody else have a meaningful interaction that you would like to share with us? And while I was thinking, I've already been thinking about our screen time. And Jay says, in person. Does a meaningful interaction have to be in person? No, I don't think it has to necessarily. In fact, I consider this a very meaningful interaction with all of you, because I feel like I can hang out with you. I try to host my lives as if we were out sitting down having a cup of coffee together, enjoying each other's time. It's very casual, I have something I want to talk about, I want to share with you, and I try to share it with you in the way I would if we were face to face instead of screen to screen. Hi, Luke. Glad you popped in tonight. So I started to say something before. I had a video, I don't remember how long ago. Oh, it would have been probably about a year ago now. And I think, or in the fall, might have been in the fall. And it was titled something along the lines of how to increase your joy and decrease your step with 2 subtle shifts. And in that, I talked about giving up games on my phone. When I had the chart, I've talked about this multiple times. Most of you are familiar with it. You evaluate what's going on in your day and make adjustments as needed. So I took games off my phone. Well, I'm going to confess right now that only lasted a few days, and then games went back on my phone. And then a couple months later, I took all the games back off my phone. And then I did it again and again, and I would keep 1 game or 2, and I would go back and forth. But finally now, I want to say now for almost 2 weeks, I've had every single game off my phone, and it's amazing that I can live like that. It did take about a week before I got used to it, which I thought was really interesting. It was still, anytime I have downtime, I would be grabbing for my phone to play a game on it. So let's see. 2-family homestead. I unloaded the groceries for Sherry this afternoon. That was meaningful, especially to her. I appreciate when people help with those kind of tasks. Jay says, I have some very meaningful conversations with people on Facebook through Messenger. I have some really special friends that are not local to me, and that is how we are able to talk. I would agree those are meaningful interactions. Rebecca says, we have our first living history event here this weekend. I will turn my phone to airplane mode so I can't access the apps or internet. That is a very good thing to do. Okay, so despite having had no games on my phone, I still spent 56 hours on my phone in the last 7 days. That's crazy. How much time do we sleep in a week? 7 times 8, about 56 hours if you get a full night's sleep, which I usually do roughly. So I spent as much time on my phone as I did sleeping. That a third of my time was spent on my phone. And it doesn't seem like that because when I go where I work, I don't have my phone out while I'm working. And when I'm out working on the farm, I don't think I have my phone out that much while I'm working. But 56 hours on the phone, that is just nuts, right? So while I've already kind of had this going on in my mind, about how much time I spend in front of screens, and then if you think about the fact that I am a YouTuber and I spend a whole lot of other time in front of a computer editing videos every week, it adds up and adds up and adds up. And so while all this was kind of going through my mind, one of the videos that I was listening to was exactly about this. So and I'm going to talk about 4 different videos, 4 different perspectives about screen time, particularly on the phone, and the things I've learned from them. Because once I watched one, then I was like, I need to find more information about this. And then the 4 different conclusions that they came to about what to do about this issue. So the first one that I just happened to cross accidentally, and these are all TED Talks, is Chris Bailey, How to Get Your Brain to Focus. So when I clicked on that, I wasn't even thinking about the phone. I was just like, oh, I could use some more focus in my life. I'm kind of scattered. And his premise is that we reach the phone for the phone, not because the phone is a distraction, but because that we're easily distracted by the phone, because that's a symptom of the fact that our brains are overstimulated. And that every time you reach for the phone and pick it up, you get a dopamine, I don't know what you call it, not a rush, but you get dopamine in your brain, right? And so then I was like, okay, well, I kind of know what dopamine is. but I wanted to really know, okay, what I think I know what dopamine is, but what really is it? I know it's something about pleasure chemicals in your brain. I know it has something to do with addictions. So I looked it up. Dopamine is a hormone that's released, and it's specifically released for um, as rewards based motivation. So um, specifically, your brain is going, "Yay, you did it," and you get a happy dopamine feeling. So and Homestead in the Highlands says it's a happy chemical that floods your brain. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So what happens is you're you're sitting there, you're watching TV, and then your phone is nearby, and when you pick it up, your brain goes dopamine. Oh, you did something good. Oh, and then you're like scroll through Facebook, scroll through Netflix, scroll through whatever, find a game to play. You know what how many of you can relate to this? I want to see a hands up little emoji. um what's my sub count up to? That video I posted yesterday, how many views does it have? Do I have any new comments on it? Right? So, and your brain actually rewards you for that. And because of that, we're looking at for something new all the time. So there's studies that show that when people are on the computer, if their phone is near it, they can only do something on the computer for 40 seconds before they go to the next task, before they switch on the computer or they pick up their phone. So that's kind of crazy. So he decided that he was going to limit his phone time to 1 hour a day for everything: maps, phone calls, social media, news, anything. It was going to be limited to 1 hour a day. And he said that he noticed as a result of this, his focus increased, his creativity increased, and one more thing, he had more ideas and more plans. So I got to thinking about that, and he went on to say that it took him about 8 days. Now remember, I said it took about a week before I was used to not having the games on my phone. So I thought, oh yeah, that's right. And he said it takes about eight eight days for your brain to adjust to that lower level of stimulation and to be able to relax. He also argues that people need longer vacations because it's about the time your vacation is over, a typical vacation of a week, that your brain is finally at that relaxed state. So I thought that was really super interesting. So then he decided to ramp it up. And for those of you who are just joining, this is Chris Bailey, and the link to his TED Talk is in the description. Um, so then he decided for the next month, he would have to, he would not only have an hour of phone time a day, but he would also be intentionally bored for an hour every day. So he did some really great little things. Like I guess he has a website, and he asks his readers to say, what's the most boring thing you can think of to do. So he called an airline and was on hold for an hour with their lost luggage department, and he watched the hands of a clock move for an hour one day, and he read the iTunes terms and conditions for another day. So he spent a lot of time doing nothing. And he said it was that same kind of pattern. Like for a while, it was really, really hard. But after a week, his brain kind of settled into this new normal. So what happened? There was another increase in productivity, not productivity, because you're not doing anything, you're just being bored. Another increase in focus. He was able to focus on tasks longer. He was able to ignore distractions longer. He didn't feel the need to be reaching for his phone all the time. And he had more ideas and more plans. So then he went on to do all these studies about what your brain thinks about when it's bored, or basically when your mind is wandering. So he talked about how boredom actually can be a positive thing for creativity. And it's the same kind of thing as if you're working on this email and you're having a hard time figuring out how to reply to this person. It might be a touchy subject. So you get up, you leave it, you're like, I'm gonna think about it. You walk into the other room, get a glass of water, all of a sudden the idea comes to you. While your mind is um, released from the task, but you're doing something else that doesn't require your full attention, then you are able your brain can kind of process it and you can come up with solutions. So I thought that was really interesting. And he said one way that you can um, teach your brain to wander is to find a task that you enjoy doing that doesn't require your brain's full attention. So I was thinking of, he said knitting, getting a massage, taking a shower. But I'm thinking for us as homesteaders, perhaps weeding the garden, doing animal chores, things that you can do and you can kind of just let your mind mull over other things and think about things. So I thought that was really interesting. So that was the first video that I watched. And then I got sucked into the next thing. And the next one that I watched, well, it wasn't the next one, but the next one that I took notes on was called The Myth of Screen Time by Paul Armstrong. And he was talking more about the generational gap, how kids have grown up in a home or in a society where there are screens everywhere and it's just a part of who they are, and screens aren't going anywhere. And actually all four of these people that I talked about said screens aren't going anywhere. So we have to find a solution for this effect that it has on us, for this addiction that we have for picking it up, for this our overstimulation of our brains, as he put it. And so Paul Armstrong says you can't blame the phone. It's not necessarily the phone's fault that you feel the need to be entertained all the time, that you're choosing to use it for entertainment all the time. And so that your screen is a tool. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And he talked about how he was specifically talking as parents that we need to be more aware of what our kids are doing on their phones, and that it's what you're choosing to use your phone for that's the issue, that it's not actually just having the screen in front of you. I thought that was an interesting perspective. I'm not sure that I 100% agreed with him, but I get the point he's making. All right, so the next one was why our screens make us less happy. Why our screens make us less happy, by Adam Alter. And he talked about a lot of different things. One of the things he talked about was how Steve Jobs they limited tech time on their kids, and their kids were not even allowed to use iPads at the time. This was like 2010 when the iPads were real new. And how people in the technology communities often limit the time that their family, especially their children, are on devices. And so that was kind of his intro. And he did a study where they asked people, how do you feel while using an app on your phone? So they found that if people were using apps that actually enrich their lives, relaxation, education, reading, weather, health, exercise, that they actually felt happy while using them. And that people used those apps an average of 9 minutes a day. But that when people were on apps such as dating, social media, entertainment, news, or just browsing the web, that they didn't feel good about themselves. They didn't feel happy while using them, and that they were on them for an average of 27 minutes a day. So they were using apps that made them feel bad about themselves 3 times as much as they were using apps that made them feel good about themselves. And he said, here's part of the issue. We grew up, now I am almost 50 years old, so I remember my first cell phone was after I got out of college, so 1993-ish, and it was not a smartphone. Smartphones weren't around until 2007. My first computer was after we moved to California, so around 1995, the first time I ever had computers. So I grew up the first 25 years of my life never touching a computer or really a screen other than a television screen. Maybe Atari or some kind of gaming system like that. And he said, when in that time, if we watched a television show, at the end of the show, it was over. You had to wait a week to watch the next one. So there was a natural, what he called a stopping cue, to make you think, oh, do I want to watch more TV or do I want to get up and do something else? Or you read a book and you come to the end of a chapter, same thing. You have a natural break. Should I do something else or should I keep reading? And a newspaper ends, a magazine ends. You're going to play a game with the family, the game ends, and then you get up and do something else. You sit down to dinner, dinner's in. So all these events in our lives had natural stopping cues. Well, now we have our phones and we just scroll And when you're on social media sites or news sites or um, whatever, it just goes on and on and on and on. And there's no natural stopping cue. So we just get sucked down the Facebook wormhole, right? All right, so I see a few more people have joined in since I started the topic. So I'm going to back up a little bit, and I have asked people to share what was the last meaningful interaction you had. What did it involve, and where were you? You know, what was going on? And I said mine was Easter dinner with family, and we played a game. And then somebody else said they had some meaningful conversations through friends who are far away through Facebook Messenger. Another person said Easter with their family. Um, and there's lots of people who've joined. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Family Garden. Hi, Bombs to Bushels. Let's see who else has popped in since I was talking and talking. 1 Acre Under God. Hello, Sam's Allotment. Hello, all the way from the UK. Shahid Turner. Hello. All right. I think that's everybody. Oh, Elizabeth from Branscombe Farm is in the house. Hello. All right. And remember that if you want to make sure that I see a comment or question, use all caps, because then I'll know it's for me and not for everybody else. Two Wild Onions. Hello. Hello, Kathleen. All right. So glad all of you popped in tonight. And so going on with what he's saying is that there's no stopping cue anymore. The entertainment today just goes on and on. All right. Let's see what else did it, if I missed any of his other major points. I think that was it. And then the fourth and final one that we're going to talk about is by, oh, wait. Nope. There's more. Nope, I'm wrong. We are going on to the next one. Hey, Luke, welcome. So the next one, the fourth one, and remember all the links to these are in the description. So if you want to go watch and hear about all their research and everything, you can watch their full videos. I'm just giving you my takeaways, the things that I found impactful and interesting. And the final one is How Screens Can Help Us Cut Down Our Screen Time by Shreya Kumar. And so she's talking about it, and she says that when we pick up our phones, we get an endorphin rush. Now remember, the other person talked about dopamine. So I was like, endorphins, how are those different from dopamines? Well, they're also a hormone, but guess what their job is? Their job is to reduce pain or stress, and that they're chemically similar to opioids, affecting similar receptors in the brain. So you're getting the same kind of chemical high, like a runner's high would be a natural one, or that you would get from, taking like codeine, one of those. So I thought that was super interesting. So on one hand, you're getting rewarded. Your brain is going, you did something good. You picked up your phone. Let's see what's going on. And then you click over to social media and you get this endorphin rush that feels good. But at the same time, these are apps that make people feel sad when they're clicking on them, so it's just crazy. All right, I see there's a all caps one. So let's see what Miss B has to say. Granted that screens aren't going anywhere, do you think part of it is having the self-control to put the screen down once in a while? Even though it's there, we don't have to constantly use them. It's very interesting that you said that, and I'm going to get to that. Because one of these four people, that was their conclusion. And we'll talk about exactly what that person said. I don't want to say gender yet. Which one said that? Okay. So now, she also talked about how we get this endorphin rush, but it's a short burst. It's a short good feeling, which is why people who are addicts are constantly chasing it. They need more and more to get that. Oh, don't feel bad. I think it's great that you're predicting what's coming. That's a great skill to have. And so this is where the meaningful experiences come in. So she was talking about being on vacation with her family, going hiking, and creating these meaningful experiences. So she was talking to people or researching, and finding out, what was the last meaningful experience you had. And with everybody, it included interaction with another person, which I thought was very interesting, because I don't think in my experience, a meaningful event that wouldn't necessarily include another person. For me, um, a meaningful event could be harvesting enough food to put up the pantry to have enough green beans for the year. For me, that would be meaningful. Maybe it wouldn't for everybody. I think for many of you, it might be. Um, but she said it usually involved a place and a person. So, like when a person went hiking with someone, that would be a meaningful event. Or when a family went to the beach, that would be a meaningful event. So, and she said the difference is instant gratification versus sustained gratification. And that those meaningful experiences, she called them meaningful experiences, would give the person a long term gratification that they could look back on. They would share that memory. They would be able to think about it, would make you smile, that sort of thing. And so I think that that's pretty interesting, because if you think about, other than right now, the last time you picked up your phone and looked at social media, I will be honest, it was in the car on the way here. I looked at Facebook. What was the last post you saw on Facebook or whatever social media you were on? I don't remember. Other than my own, I honestly don't remember. It's not going to be a long-term meaningful event for me. So that's a lot. That's a lot to digest. Hello, Rosanna and Rocking Sea Homestead. I see you're here. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. I think that's about it. I think I've seen everybody else. I'm glad you guys are here. For me, this has been a really interesting study, but it's also been a little bit of convicting, if I could use that word. It's really it's made me stop and think. So I know a lot of you joined later. I was showing that I looked up screen time on my phone. iPhones have that feature. I don't know whether any Android devices have that feature. I spent 56 hours on my phone over the last 7 days. 11 of those were on YouTube, and 7 or 8 of those were on Facebook. So like 23 hours on social media. And then it went down from there. Now, I do business on my phone. I have to have my phone nearby sometimes, because I'll get texts regarding my interpreting business and emails, and there are things I have to do. But I think about it, and 20 years ago, before I had my cell phone, I still worked. I was still able to have and run a business. If I didn't have my phone on me, and my husband didn't know where I was, he didn't panic, right? He knew that I would call him eventually, or I would come home eventually. We would tell each other our plans for the day, and then we would see each other at the end of the day. But now we feel like we have to have this tether on us, so that our family knows where we are and can get a hold of us. We feel like our kids need to be able to reach us at any minute. But when I was a teenager, I didn't have immediate access to my mom if she was out shopping, or if she was out to coffee with a friend, So maybe there's something to be said about people don't need immediate access to us. And is that something? And actually, this is just something I'm talking through out loud right now. I actually hadn't thought about this until this moment. But how important is it that anybody can reach us at any time? Is it really necessary? So I'm going to think about that. Now, let's see what some of her conclusions were. Oh, also she talked about, because she's an app designer, and she said that people who are designing their apps, they want people to stay in the app longer. I don't know if any of you watch Sean Cannell at Think Media, or video influencers, and they talk about YouTube rewards creators who keep people in the app. So that's why there's screen cards there. That's why there's links. That's why there's the suggested videos, because YouTube wants you to be on the endless scroll, right? So She talked about that, and she talked about are we consumers or are we users with feelings and with well-being? And when she said that, I wrote down, and I wrote a square around it. This was my own thought, not hers. I said, who is responsible for my well-being? So I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, because she was saying that apps need to be more developed with the user in mind, and what is really good for them. And so I was like, well, do I feel like the app designers need to be responsible for my well-being when I get sucked down that wormhole? Do I say, oh, Facebook shouldn't be designed that way? The news feed should only go to 10 and then stop, because then I'd have a stopping point. Do I do that? So we're thinking about that, and they had some different solutions. So what do you guys think? Where are we at on this? What do you think? I'm going to read a couple comments, and I'm going to let you guys reply. What do you think are some good solutions? Do you feel that you have a good handle on your screen time? Do you feel like you need to decrease it, or you're okay with where it's at? And what are your thoughts? And then I'm going to look at some other comments that we've got while you guys are typing. So Ashley says, Henry has a medical device. And for those of you who don't know, Henry has diabetes. So she has to have her phone on her at all times. Yeah. I think there are situations like that, sure. I don't think that that's necessarily everybody's situation, but I can completely understand why you would want your phone by your side at all times. Elizabeth says, I went to Walmart and forgot my phone. I was freaking out on the drive, but after I got there, it was fine. We do that, don't we? Some of you have stopped using Facebook. I see a lot of people avoid Facebook. Ashley's afraid to check her screen time. That's funny. All right, so what do you guys think? Jay says we need to be accountable for ourselves. Learn self-control. It's not easy, but it's that simple. Yes, and Rocking C. Homestead says FOMO effect. And that, remember the first guy that I talked about? I don't know if you were on here at that time, Rocking C, when it was Chris Bailey, and he talked about how the first month he cut his phone use down to an hour a day, and the second month he added in an hour of purposeful boredom, intentional boredom a day. And he said that it was FOMO. It was definitely, and for those of you who don't know, that's fear of missing out. Let's see. And One Acre Under God listens, has their phone on them for weather alerts. Yep, I think that's a good thing. Oh, remember when I was talking about the kind of apps that they said make you happy when you use them? I was so happy that because you guys remember I have 9 weather apps on my phone. It says, how do you feel when you use this app? And the ones that made people happy were relaxation, education, reading, and weather. I put 2 exclamation points by it. I was like, yes, I get to keep my weather apps. All right. So let's see what some of their ideas were. So Chris Bailey, the first one said, so his solution is from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. he has no screen time, and he has a Sunday Sabbath from technology. Or actually, he didn't say a Sunday Sabbath. He says he takes a weekly Sabbath from technology. So they just turn their phones off for a whole day. Paul Armstrong, who was the second one I talked about, that talked about the myth of screen time, he said just choose better apps. Your phone is a useful tool, just don't be picking apps that are purely for entertainment. That's your own fault if you do that. Adam Alter, he was the one who said that entertainment apps today have no stopping cues in them, that signal you to do something else. So he said, invent your own stopping cue. That so he suggests that you pick, instead of a time frame to say, okay, I'm gonna put my phone down from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. He's like, Every day you might be somewhere different. But rather, if you say, okay, during dinner, I will never have my phone at the table during dinner, then that's a natural stopping cue for you. You sit down at the table, your phone goes somewhere else far away, goes to airplane mode, gets turned off, whatever, and that becomes more natural for you. And he also said that he noticed that people who do this, that time tends to expand, that tends to, and he didn't call it meaningful experiences like Shreya did. He just said people enjoy it so much that they're actually interacting with real people and not with their phones, that they expand that time. First, they might start with just during dinner time, then they might go to all meal times, or they might go to over the weekend, we're going to go to airplane mode or whatever it is. So that was his thing, was to establish some kind of routine. Some people, the first hour that they wake up, he talked about, one of these guys talked about a design firm in, I don't remember what country it was, where the desks are affixed to a pulley system, and at 6 p.m. every day, the desks raise up. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, in the middle of typing an email, whoop, there goes my desk, work day is done. So there's a stopping cue for you, so things like that would be interesting. So coming up with some way. And my phone, actually, I have the it's called downtime or something like that set, but then I just like go, oh wait, I really need to check this. Oh, okay, ignore it for today, and I just get on it anyway. So I'm gonna have to find a better way, a better method than just the timer on my phone. All right, and let's see. So then Shreya says users have the power. So this is where we get back to what Rebecca and also Jay mentioned this too, self-control and power. She said, if you had the power to buy this expensive phone, you can choose when to turn it on and off. You have the power to do so. So I thought that was really interesting. And she did also assert that designers need to design responsibly. But she came back to, but if they're not, then we need to choose to use the phone responsibly. Take a break from instant gratification for the purpose of creating sustained gratification and make more meaningful experiences. So I thought that was really fascinating. And actually, I'm going to read that out loud, Catherine, because that's a great tip. She says, when my phone needs a charge, I plug it in my bedroom and I walk away till it's at 100%. That's a great tip. That's a great way to get away from it. And I find that I have my phone going a lot of the times. Kathleen talked about that I often have it going in my car, but do I really need it? Could I just turn on the radio and listen to the radio? Or could I just travel in silence and let my mind wander and let my mind have that hour drive time to be creative? What about when we're washing dishes, when we're cooking dinner? Do I need to be watching videos and things like that? When I'm watching TV with my family, we do watch TV every evening, just about. That's what Chris really enjoys, TV and movies, and so that's kind of our family thing. We have programs we watch together in the evenings. But do I need my phone right next to me right then? Would it hurt my business if I put my phone in the bedroom for an hour? In my immediate family, there's nobody who is at an immediate risk of dying or anything like that if they don't get a hold of me. An hour would not make much of a difference, right? So let's see. So Cheryl says you can actually go to prison if your phone is on anything other than a navigation. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, some states here in the U.S. you can get ticketed, but not all of them. But what I do a lot of times is I'll have the phone down there and I will listen to things through my phone. So I turn on YouTube videos and listen to them, which basically I could do podcasts, but I just know the YouTube channels that I like. So I have that playing a lot. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm pretty caught up on the comments. So, that being said, I was on my phone 56 hours. last week. In 7 days, I was on my phone 56 hours. I mean, that is just a shocking number to me, that I was on the phone that much. So that's a third of my life. A third of my life sleeping, a third of my life on the phone. Where's the other third of my life going? Probably to work and gardening and homesteading and things like that, and editing videos. No wonder I'm exhausted all the time. So I really want to challenge myself and see if I can cut that number in half. Now, I saw some people talking about Facebook and Facebook drama and all of that, but I grew up in California, Oregon, and Alaska. I went to college in Louisiana. I moved back to California, and I have friends from all walks of life, from church, from high school, from college, from colleagues. And I really like to keep up with what they're doing and what their families are doing and things like that. And if you're trying to grow a YouTube channel, then you need to be promoting in those Facebook groups and active in them. And that takes time. But so it's kind of like, I know, Cheryl, I thought of that. Cheryl says, it's funny that I'm on YouTube and I'm telling you guys to cut back on your screen time. I thought of that today, but it's where I'm at. And that's what I was saying. Like, you are my friends. I feel like this is a meaningful interaction between us. I really feel that those of you who watch my live stream probably know me better than those who watch my edited videos, simply because I share so much more with you here. I share other parts of my life. So I need to figure it out. So we got to figure out, like, how much is the phone taking away from my focus and my creativity and my problem solving and my new ideas? You know, how much is that? How much am I relying on that dopamine and endorphin rush every time I pick up my phone? So I'm like, ugh, what am I going to do? But, pardon me. I'm all torn up about it. I just choked on my own breath. I really would like to cut that number in half. I think I could go from, because right now, 8 hours a day on my phone, that's crazy. That's crazy talk right there. So I think I could go to 4 hours a day. Or I don't know if I can. I don't know if I could. I know that I want to. I want to decrease the time on my phone. And so I'm still going to allow myself the time on the computer to do editing. But I do a lot from my phone. Like 11 hours was on YouTube. But I also look, YouTube Studio, where I answer comments and things from, was not nearly as high. I'm feeling torn right now. So, okay. So here's what I say. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go from 8 hours a day to 4 hours a day on my phone. And you guys have to hold me accountable for this, right? Yes. And so Ashley was talking about taking up a hobby. Yeah, I think we could. I think if we, my house might be a little cleaner if I have 4 extra hours in my day. Now, I do want to say, sometimes the hours I'm on my phone is because I'm between jobs. I do sometimes multiple jobs in a day, and I live an hour from my home, so it doesn't make sense for me to come home and go back. I couldn't get home and go back, so I've got like an hour to spend. So I might go sit down somewhere at a coffee shop and just browse on my phone, you know. So, I mean, there still might be that, but I suspect that's not all the time. I suspect a lot of the time is when I'm on my phone surfing while I'm watching TV or while I'm doing something else. So I'm going to cut it down to 4 hours a day somehow. So if you want to, Cheryl says she's going to think about taking this challenge for a week. So now for those of you who don't have screen time, you just have to pick a number, I guess. But for those of you who have screen time, you could look and see what it says. So who's in? Who wants to try to do this for a week and see how it turns out? Maybe we'd have more time for intentional kindness that we talked about a few lives ago, where we were talking about being intentionally kind and intentionally loving people. All right. So we'll do this and we will report back. And we have only 10 minutes left, and I said that you guys would hear first the names of our rabbits. Overwhelmingly, you all voted for, drumroll, Do you want to know? Jay's going to be so happy. Jay, you can shout it out. Who won? She's not typing. She's not typing fast enough. Do you know, Jay? I thought you'd figure it out because I said you would be so happy about it. It is everybody's favorite classic Princess Bride. Wesley and Buttercup won for the names of our rabbits. It was overwhelmingly, they got much higher votes across all platforms where I put it out there. Wesley and Buttercup. So those are our new rabbit names. And we have some more rabbits coming as soon as I have the cages ready for them. I'm very excited about that. Did I tell you guys that Kevin and Sarah are going to be giving me their California and New Zealand crosses? So that's exciting too. Okay, so that was a long time. I kept you guys on the screen for another hour. Don't forget to watch all my videos. Make sure my videos are included in your hour every day, your 4 hours a day. I'm so... I crack myself up. I don't know if you guys laugh so much, but I make myself laugh. So please, yes, watch my videos, but you can stop watching other people's. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, what else do we have? Rebecca says she gives herself a total of an hour and a half a day to work on the computer. Otherwise, I'm working on hand projects, no tech. Nice. Nice. And 1 Acre Under God is also in. Good job. Good job. Okay, so in the last 9 minutes, what else do you guys want to talk about? What other questions do you have? What do you want to talk about next time? Elizabeth is in. Woo! Don't forget that I have a fire pit hangout coming up after Baker Creek. If you're going to be in the area, you're welcome to come hang out with us. 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. I know some people are having transportation issues and stuff. Thanks, Kathleen. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys and just sharing where my heart is. And so Rebecca says, I should feel blessed that on Wednesday she uses up a whole hour. That's right, to hang out with me. She only has a half hour left after she's done watching my show. Well, thank you. I appreciate that too. I do very much appreciate it. All right. That was quite a bit to talk about. What do you guys want to talk about next week when we come back? We'll talk about how it was. I'm an enabler. I know. I am. I'm a dealer. I'm dealing you guys your addiction right now. I'm rewarding you. You get that dopamine rush. Don't forget to click like. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. I hope you guys laugh with me when I say silly stuff like that. She wants to talk about how twitchy we all are next week from withdrawing. We're like, yeah. Oh, I can share something else I learned with you guys. This has nothing to do with technology. This I just thought was really funny. It was this lady and she was talking about the science of body movement and how it affects the brain. And she was talking about how to never get annoyed with people. And she said that if you will like wiggle like a little, like think about how a toddler dances and wiggle your body like this, that you can actually wiggle your way out of being annoyed, because you can't be annoyed and angry and wiggle like that. It's a little bit harder to do sitting down. It's a little easier when you're standing up and you just like wiggle head to toe. So the next time somebody's getting on your nerves, just stare them dead straight in the eye and be like, so it was kind of funny. I made my daughter do that the other day when she was like getting like all like aggravated, and I was like, stop for a second. Wait, just stop a second. Do this with me. And she was like, she's like, why are we doing this? I'm like, because I don't want you to be mad at me. I don't know that it worked, but it made me laugh. Um, all right. Well, I think we will close out unless anybody else has some last minute things they want to say. Thank you so much for hanging out, for sharing some of your screen time with me tonight, talking about screen time. Did I talk about everything that was in the title of this video? Boredom, focus, creativity, power, and what was the other and thing? Meaningful experiences. I did talk about it. Wow, Cheryl sent you something all the way from Scotland. Nice. I'm not jealous. That'll be fun. That'll be a good video. Can't wait to see that. Unboxing. I wonder what it is. I wonder if she sent you a pony. Probably not. They probably weigh too much to ship all the way to Utah from Scotland. Scotland? Highland, Scotland. Yes. Sorry, my brain just went like I'm saying the wrong place, but I'm saying the right place. Mama Gross wants a pony. Not getting one from me. We don't have ours anymore. Okay. Well, I will say goodnight. I will let you all say goodnight to each other, and then I will end the live chat. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I had a fun time. 4 hours a day. I'm cutting it down. 23 hours for the week. That's a little bit. How does that not average out? How did 8 hours a day average out to 56 hours? 5 times 8. No, because 7 times 8 is 56. Is that right? Then if we cut 56 and 3, it must 56 and a half. It must not be 23. It's got to be more than that. 25, 28, 28. 28 hours a week. Basic math. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. Up to 28 hours. 4 hours a day. 4 times 7 is 28. That works out. Math always works out when you do it correctly. Okay. See you.